Kind of smoothly. But I look through these things. Like me.
Change on here. Change and happy Valentine's Day. I went to the store on the way here to get some roses for the ladies, and I realized how expensive they were. And I said, "Well, I've already spent $300 this weekend. I'm not going to spend any more." So, and you're in my heart. So, there is a greeter sheet going around, a sign up sheet. I think it actually goes through the end of my term. So, on the second sheet. So, it's amazing how quickly this is going by. Welcome to the February 14th, 2025 meeting of the Beavercreek Rotary Club. I'd like to thank our greeters, Beth. Her partner showed up late, but at least he's here, which is great. Eric Marcus, we're running around trying to figure out how to make all this stuff work. And we're on hotspots now. We don't have an internet. There's Beth. And Beth Handworker for all the things she's about to do. Pete Bales, Mark Weinstein, and Mike Zwick for the programs, and Jim Gundel for the website. Danny, if you're available for the invocation, please. This is right.
Yes. Well, happy Valentine's. Would you join me in prayer? Thank you for this chance to be together with those business friends and associates. Bless our time together and our fellowship together. Amen. Thank you, sir.
Secretary's report, Joe Jenkins.
We have it's probably a new incoming Rotarian. Greta, do you want to introduce yourself?
No, I'm Greta Costa. Jerry Piper actually dropped me a few weeks ago. I'm retired Air Force, was never stationed here. I'm originally from Ohio, so I moved back here in 2020. I'm a full-time realtor with Cola Banker, and I was a member of the Houston Rotary for about 7 years. I did their Camp Enterprise program and their Veterans Day fundraiser every year, and whatever else they wanted to. And when I met Jerry, he mentioned that he was a member of Rotary, so I thought I was interested in getting involved again.
By the way, how is Jerry?
Jerry, I talked to Jerry yesterday. He's still plugging away in rehab, trying to get used to this leg in his arm. He's up at Ohio State at one of their facilities because this project's over his daughter in. And he's hanging in there. Seems like he's in really good spirits.
Could you possibly give us his address and we can send him a card or something?
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I don't know. Always did.
Want to explain what happened?
3 weeks. Jerry's moving out of his house and into traditions and independent living. So for the past several months, we've been helping him organize all his things, box everything up, take it to storage, take things here and there. So he had lots of boxes there. And he was carrying a very heavy box up the steep stairs of his basement and tripped on the last step and fell backwards. Broke his neck and had surgery for that already. That was very successful, but he's still having a difficult time with use of his right arm and his right leg. So his daughter's doing a great job, keeping track of him and taking care of him, and he's in really good spirits. Very positive. So thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Kyle Bale, Bale Associates Insurance Company, specialize in home, auto, and business insurance solutions. My motto is for people who care, and I just want to thank David for inviting me here.
Joe, you've been here a long time.
Yeah.
You just spent the time out there. Anything else, Joe? Chris Hadley. Sergeant at Arms. Okay, then next. Don't get too carried away here.
Thank you. I know, yeah, let's see.
That is, yeah.
All right, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, and hello again to all of our guests, our potential future Rotarian, and of course, our long-term guest, and our incredible speaker and his wife. And welcome again to the February 14th meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. And if you are smelling all the love in the air, that is because today is National Library Lovers Day. Moving on to some birthdays and anniversaries, we only have one member anniversary coming up, and that is Dan Tobias. He will be celebrating 19 years with us on the 17th. So if anyone speaks with him frequently, let him know he should come back and join us sometime soon, especially maybe next week, since he'll be closer to his anniversary with us. Moving on to some good things that have happened this day in history. Back in 1920, women did not have representation in the U.S. government, but that quickly changed on this day when the League of Women's Voters was founded. And we want to do a little research on them. They've paved the way and made some incredible changes and improvements for women voters throughout the years. 1962, 80 million people, or roughly 2.5% of the world's population, tuned in on television to watch First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy give a tour featuring the restorations that she spent a year restoring to the White House, with all of the historical furnishings that were missing when she arrived. Which, if you think about it, in 1962, 80 million people at the same time tuning in the TV to watch a tour of the White House is pretty remarkable. In 1967, Aretha Franklin recorded the award-winning version of Otis Redding's song "Respect," and that officially 500 song of all time by the Rolling Stones. We move on to 1989, and this is what I think we all love. The first 24 satellites of the Global Positioning System were placed into orbit, which I think we all appreciate being told when to turn left and right and turn around, and we missed our stop. And then moving on a year later, in 1990, the Voyager 1 spaceship turned around to take a look at Earth before it left our solar system 4 billion miles away. And it is still somewhere out there in space, roughly about 14 billion miles away, collecting all sorts of crazy data that's out there. And then in 2005, the Great Education website was officially launched. If anyone had yet on that would be YouTube. And a fun backstory on YouTube, it officially launched to the public December 2005 and quickly became the second largest search engine. And then 11 months later, the largest search engine bought them for a nice $1.65 billion. And some fun things to celebrate. Coming up, Saturday kicks off National Entrepreneur Week. Saturday is also Susan B. Anthony Day, along with Support Independent Pub Day. Sunday is Innovation Day and National Do a Grouch a Favor Day. Monday, for all those that have the day off on President's Day, you can double dip and celebrate Random Acts of Kindness Day and My Way Day. Tuesday is a great one for us adults. It's Eat Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. And also Cow Milked While Flying in the Airplane Day. Wednesday is the U.S. Coast Guard Reserve's birthday. And in the same vein is also National Vet Girls Rock Day. Thursday, good luck on this one for everybody, is No Politics Day. And then it's also Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day. And if you're looking for some things to do, if you're actually looking for something to do tonight, shame on you because you've got plenty of time to make plans for tonight, but there are tons of things out there that I won't run through the list of all of them because we definitely do not have enough time to go through all the Valentine's Day festivities out there. But this weekend, if you do have young ones that love all things STEM, you can head out to Sinclair where they will have the Tech Fest going on all weekend, and it's free to enter as well. And also, if you're kid free and love a good art fair, the Dayton Arcade will be hosting the Dayton Art Fair, which is also free unless you decide to buy things. Then Thursday, our friends at the Chamber will have their monthly business links over at Design Homes in Centerville from 4:30 to 6. And then next Friday before our Rotary meeting, you swing out to Kroger from 9 to 11 at Cocoa with Cops. Moving on to some Beavercreek student awesomeness. The big news coming out from last week is the varsity game day competition cheer squad competed at nationals in Florida, and they finished 6th in the entire nation. And if it wasn't for them taking sixth in the nation, I would have led off with the most electric winter sport, which is known as indoor track and field, where our 4x800 meter team took third at the Eastern Indoor Meet. Women's varsity basketball unfortunately lost to that Centerville team, but the JVA and JVB women's team both beat Centerville. The varsity gymnastics team took third place at the Anderson Invite last weekend. Men's wrestling had three winners at a meet last weekend. The varsity girls bowling team beat again that Centerville team, and they clinched their third consecutive GWAC title. The varsity boys bowling team unfortunately lost to the Centerville team, but they ended their season 12-2. JV girls went on to beat Dayton Christian and ended their season 18-0. And then the JV boys #1 team lost to Centerville, ending the season 11-1. JV boys 2 team lost to Dayton Christian. They ended their season with 9-4. We had the varsity wheelchair basketball team again lose to that pesky Centerville team. And then we had a soccer phenom and apparently a kid who somehow has a 4.4 GPA in high school was named the Penn Station Athlete of the Month. And then lastly, as a proud DECA alumni, I was happy to see that Beavercreek had a handful of DECA students that have qualified for the State DECA Career Development Conference next month. And now moving on to our favorite part with fines. We have the standard, if you're not wearing your badge, that is $1. If you were late, I won't call you out again, that's $1. If you've ever had to sing the song Respect to remember how to spell respect, that is $1. And if you just spell respect in your head, that'll be another $1. If you ever looked up something on YouTube on how to fix something around the house instead of calling GSI contractors, that'll be $1.
Call me that.
And if you've ever been the worst parent in the world and told your child they cannot eat ice cream for dinner, that'll be $1. Don?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I was talking about the GPS satellites going out there. I was driving a car the other day and the GPS said turn around. Said, man, I couldn't see where I was going. Yes. Bring back some of the old ones. Happy bucks. Nobody's happy. Somebody has to be happy.
I'll go happy, Buck. So again, just a reminder, RILA's coming up in March. Registration's getting ready to close at the end of the month. If you have any sophomores or juniors that you know that would definitely enjoy the program, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna fill the slots. Anybody that has anybody, let me know.
Anyone else? Happy bucks. Good.
Yeah, I'm not, much like Fran and I delivered the cherries to Shaw on Monday morning, and the kids seemed to enjoy it very much and went very well.
Good. Yeah, I saw a picture of Fran talking to them, so that's good.
And she was a talker over these guys.
It's okay. Anyone else? Are there any announcements for the good of the club? Okay. Okay. I got
Mine is actually a sad part. We were supposed to have the 4-way speech contest yesterday. And it turned out that out of the original 5, they got the flu. Well, thank God, and all of that stuff. So there are 2 people available, so it's gonna occur sometime in early March.
Yeah, I showed up along with David Brandenburg in high school. Part of that. There was nobody there. Take a drawing. Got him. Sign off. Take number 653-458. This is for our half the proceeds. Let's go to our grant. For our Christmas basket program, the other half goes to either Joe Jenkins or David Kuzak. That's correct.
Right.
And what are we looking for this month, this time?
10 clubs.
10 clubs, okay. There's a Queen of Hearts for, I think, 2 times in a row, so. And Chris, if you've got a minute. Here's our speaker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, I am not going to do my typical intro because for me to do this for this gentleman would be a huge disservice on his incredible story. Because why get a short bio from me? I mean, get the full awesome autobiography from the living legend himself. But what I will say is James, or JT, is the living embodiment of what Rotary stands for. And no, I'm not talking about how Polio picked a fight with the wrong guy, but how he lives and breathes service above self, not only for his family, but for his country, for coworkers, and community. As Don mentioned last week, in 2009, AC's Extreme Home Makeover came through and made their home more accessible, not only for JT, but his whole entire family. And I do remember being there, boots on the ground, helping out, not doing all the cool stuff because I was young and had to handle all those heavy hammer guns and things of that nature. But I did notice once they did allow JT to come back to his home, there's definitely something in the air, definitely a different vibe, but all for good. And fast forward a few years later when coaching Dion's softball team, which was Coach Pitch, we played against JT's team. And not only was he out there pitching for his team, after every hit, he would fly over to whatever base they got on, congratulate them, coach them up. Then he would also go to our players and play in the field, coach them up and congratulate them too, which is something that all of our coaches should be doing for the youth. But obviously, we're all not wired that way. Now, fast forward again a few more years, and my girlfriend at the time, her son was playing flag football. I take Dion up there to his practice. Dion and I are standing sideline just watching the practice goes. JT comes over, asks Dion if he wants to go over and play a little catch while his team is practicing. So not only is he coaching and practicing or running his team's practice, but he's having a one-on-one pass and catch with my son, who's not even on the team for most of the practice. So to say that this man is not service above self would be just true blasphemy to that concept. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming a living legend that does reside in the greatest city in Ohio, Mr. J.T. Turpin.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Actually, can you guys hear me? I'm not going to use the mic because I do have a very strong voice. I know how to turn this off here. There we go. All right. Because I'm told I have a loud voice because when people come to Rotary and I'm getting ready to coach softball, they can hear me. Or when I coach soccer and they come into the Ankeny complex, they can hear my voice and everything. So I have a loud voice here. But thank you, Mr. Hadley and Mr. Bells, for asking me to come and talk to you guys about my story. Now, I know you guys know about polio and I have polio, but you're probably looking at them as like, how did you get polio? Because were you born here in the States? No, I was actually born in Vietnam. So let me go back. That's why you see my American name and you see my Vietnamese name. So during the Vietnam War, okay, I contracted polio, and that's just a little synopsis of what polio is. In my case, I'm lucky. I had the minor case of polio, where basically it just affected gray matter in my spinal fluid. And what that does, it affects the muscles in your body. And it could be any part of your body. In my case, it affected my legs. Now, when I did contract polio, I was able to walk and run like a normal child. When you start like at 10 months old or 11 months, you're able to get started to walk and stuff. I was able to do that. But then around age 4 or 5, the orphanage that I was staying at in Vietnam was being surrounded by warfare. And what happened is the building got exploded and somehow I got hit by shrapnel. And so I got hit on the back left side and that now prevented me from being able to walk and run like a normal child would walk and run. So, and this is one of the orphanage, and I don't know if this is mine or not, because that was a long time ago, so I don't really remember it. But I think I just showed that to know that, you know, one of the orphanage that I stayed at was been bonded. So, in '74, President Ford, knowing that we were gonna lose the war, the Vietnam War, so he started to, he was talking to the Vietnamese, government. And so he started the two projects, Operation Life and Baby Lift Project. And what the goal was is they wanted to get as many of the half Asian and half other nationalities out of Vietnam because they knew that they were going to lose the war and they didn't want these kids to be. But about 3,300 were saved to come out. There was still left about 2,500 Asians. A lot of them got tortured. Even little babies got tortured before they got killed. But in the goal was on April 4th, whichever program, Operation Life or Baby Lift Project, they had to get all their paperwork done by 9 o'clock in the morning on 4 April 75. So whoever got it done will get the first plane out of Vietnam. Well, what happened is, and excuse me, because my voice, I have dry voice, and so I'm gonna drink it with. So Operation Life is a program where the rich families already adopted a child, so it's already set. But Baby Lift Project wasn't set. None of the kids could be adopted. So Operation Life, they actually paid the government so that they would get that first plane out of it. So at 4 April, they got it. And then what happened is about 12 minutes after takeoff, the back door here of the plane malfunctioned and opened up and caused the plane to crash in the rice paddy about 12 minutes after takeoff. And what you're seeing here is two compartments. The top compartment contained the kids that were 6 years old and under, and they would be put up here. And then those that were 7 years old and over were down here. At that time, if I was on this plane, I would have been down here. And about 138 kids and staff were killed right after because the belly of it crashed right into the rice paddy. And the folks up here, most of them survived. So I would have been on this first plane. Luck that one, otherwise I probably would not be here talking to you folks. All right. See here. So once we flew out on the next day on a C-130, 5 April 25, we were flown to California. And then from California, we were flown to New York City. And I was put in at St. Vincent Hospital. And right here, these are the paperwork that were given out. Now, I do have a little story, and I didn't put it on there because I'm going to talk about it. With the paperwork, I had the paperwork here plus my picture. I went down to visit her and we talked for 2 hours. And she said that this paperwork right here, I don't think the point is working very well, or is it? Wow. The paperwork's not my paperwork. Okay. So what happened was, remember I said that, the both programs had to get paperwork done by 9 o'clock the morning of 4 April. Well, when I came from the orphanage that was blown up, came over to this other orphanage that were getting all the paperwork, they didn't have time to fill out my paperwork. Number one. Number two, I didn't have the paperwork with me because the building I stayed at was blown up. and all the paper were destroyed. So what happened is this paperwork here, they didn't have time to fill one out for me. So they said, hey, this child's already deceased. We'll go ahead and give this paperwork to me. And so basically, if you remember my name, Nighttime Loy, and my birth date and everything, I'm living as this other child or this other person. And I was like, really? Wow. Because she saw my picture, it's like, well, you weren't in my orphanage. You came from somewhere else and we didn't have time to fill it out. So we just gave them this paperwork and you got your out. Okay, very interesting. So let's see here. So now, when I got here, 25, about 6 months later, I got adopted by June and Robert Turpinning. I was the fourth adoptee in the Turpinning family. My oldest sister, Ann, was the first adoptee. And then my second sister, Connie, she was actually in a basket and her mom left her in a basket on the footstep of my parents' house in New York City with a note saying, I can't take care of her. I know you believe in God and all that. I'd like for you to take care of her. And so that's how Connie became the second. And then my brother Joseph, he's the one on the right side there. He's actually he's born in New York City, but his parents came from the Philippines, came to New York City for a job, gave birth to Joe, and then when he was born, the doctor told his parents, like, your son's not going to last very long because he has CP. Back then, people were very ignorant about disability. They didn't know what it is, how to react. The first thing the doctor say, hey, your child's a vegetable, it's not going to last very long. So they left Joe at St. Vincent Hospital. And my oldest sister was a candy striper at St. Vincent and told mom and dad about Joe. And so the nun filled out all the paperwork. And so Joe became the third adoptee to the family, but the first one to be a disabled child. And then behold, in 75, about 6 months later, the same nun that got my brother Joe adopted also got me adopted by the same family. But back then, you only allowed to adopt one disabled person. Well, she went through all the paperwork because she knew that, my parents will take care of the kids. And she ended up being able to get me to be the fourth adoptee to the Turpinning family. So I lived in Nantucket, New York from 75 to 81. And then we moved up to West Point area, Cornwall on the Hudson and everything. So that's how I became an adopted fourth adoptee to the Turpinning family. And you can see all the paperwork on that. If you have questions, you don't have to wait till the end to ask me questions. I can stop and I can answer.
How did they get around the second handicapped child?
That's a good question, and I won't be able to answer that. But when you're a nun, right? They will listen because you really do not want to mess with nuns. Americans, so just and so here, what you see is me becoming a naturalized citizen in 1979. And this is my fourth grade class becoming my witnesses. Because back then, we didn't have to take tests, okay? And we didn't have to read the paperwork like they have to do now. All I had to do just say I do, whatever, and I became a naturalized citizen. 1979. All right. So at age 13, my mom saw this gentleman in a racing chair out on the street because he was training for a race coming up. So she stopped him on the road and said, hey, my son James, I'd like for you to come and chat with him. And so we invited him over for dinner. And Jamie was talking to me about wheelchair basketball. Now, mind you, I was using crutches and braces at age 9. My parents got me those. And I was playing like football, I was playing soccer, basketball, you name it, on my crutches and braces with my friends. And now I got this gentleman telling me, hey, you can play wheelchair basketball. And I was like, nah, I'm already playing basketball with my friends and stuff like that. So I was like, nah, I'm not interested. So he invited me to a basketball practice. And I went, and there's all these grown-ups, no kids. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're going up and down. And I was like, nope, I'm still not interested. So they threatened me. It's like, you gotta get in a wheelchair, okay? Because I didn't use a wheelchair at all. I mean, I was still in my brother's chair every once in a while just to go out fun, but I didn't use a wheelchair. It's like either you get in a wheelchair or we're gonna just go ahead and lift you up, put you in the wheelchair. So, okay, back off, ease off, all right. And so I got into a wheelchair, and as soon as I got in a wheelchair and I started going up and down, my whole life changed. It's like a whole new life now. Because everything I before then was on crutch and braces. I would fall down, I get right back up, and do things and whatnot, have fun and everything. But when it came to wheelchair basketball, it was so much easier to be able to go up and down, dribbling the ball. Because I would play with one wheelchair, I can dribble with my lap, I can go speeding, I go in and out, all these old folks, right? Young guy. So I just go in and out, and they would shoot the ball up and I'd steal it from them because they're tall and I'm short. And like, what the heck did you come from? And everything. And so at age 13, I started my first playing disabled sports. And then at age 14, Joe Wolf met me at a tournament, and he was asking me about if I wanted to try disabled swimming. I already was on a swim team, for the club team, and I was going to be on the high school swim team. And so I was like, sure, why not? I'll give it a try. And so I went to my first competition, and I was only 15 years old. And the next oldest person was probably what, 28, 30. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to beat these people at all. They all look like professional swimmers and stuff like that. Well, when I was swimming, I actually got to beat them, and I got some gold, bronze, silver medals. And then I got to go to my first Olympic sport, Olympic competition, not Olympic, sorry, international competition in Paris, France in 1987. And there I was like, oh my gosh, I saw a whole wide variety of different types of disability. Number one. And number two, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be competing. He's like, I have no chance. But I was getting gold, bronze, and silver messages. And then he says, you know what? You need to try out for the Paralympics. So in 87, I tried out for my first Paralympic, and I qualified for swimming. And what you see here, this is a 3x50 medley relay. We got a gold and a world record. And that world record cannot be broken anymore because they converted 350 to a 4x50. So this is in history now, the world record. There you can see we were the Sharks for the first Paralympics in Seoul, Korea. So I got a bronze and a gold medal, and probably should have brought that so everybody could see. I always keep forgetting that. But this is the gold and the bronze medal in my first Paralympics. And then after that, I went to Barcelona for swimming. And then after Barcelona, I changed over to sitting volleyball for my next two Paralympics, Georgia and Australia. And Shannon got to go with me for my last Paralympics, sitting volleyball. And here, what I'm showing you is other sports that I represented the U.S. in. So I did basketball. I did swimming, sitting volleyball, tennis, and basketball in Italy in '92. And here, this is when we went to Australia, we got to go and meet President Clinton in 2000. And since then, I retired because we were getting ready to build a family. And so my sports career, I had my time from 83 to 2000. I had my time there. So now get ready to raise a family. And then I get to shift being a competitor to being a coach for my kids, everybody's sports, and now being a coach of a disabled basketball team in Beavercreek. And we'll talk about that a little later. So met by my wife, Shannon, in 97. I was working at Disability Services at Wright State, and she was an intern right next door, which is the national, I forget what it's called. International office. And in fact, the secretary at her office told me 2 weeks prior, it's like, I got 2 girls coming to help me out. And she said this, the first one is going to be your mate. Well, Shannon was the first one. And now we're going on 26 years here in June, being 26 marriage and 28 together. So I don't know how Tina knew about this, but she knew it. And within 3 days of meeting her, I was like, you know what? My sports career is going to be ending here soon, and we're going to be raising a family. And so you can see, and we got married in June 26th, 1999. And I got my first job at Right Back in August of 99. So, and that's what this is. So I started working for Aeronautical Systems Center in 99, and I'm currently still working there. I'm going on 26 years in August. And this is actually going to change here in June. It's going to be something else now because it's combining NASA and Air Force together. So they're going to have a different, I don't know what you want to call it, office symbol on that. It's pretty good. So now my family. So we got married and then we had Jocelyn. All right. That's her right here. She was the first one, 2003. And then the next two, Justin and Jacob, are the twins. So these three are seniors now. She's getting ready to graduate from Wittenberg University. All right, our childhood education. And then the twins are graduating this year from Beavercreek High School. And then the youngest is Joshua. Jocelyn started the bowling program, so she's been on the high school bowling team. And then the 3 boys were on the high school bowling team. If you remember, we have back-to-back state champions last year and 2 years ago. And we're hoping for a third one this coming season. So next week we start sectionals, and hopefully we'll continue way up. And if we end up doing back, we'll be the first high school to ever do that. We're actually the second high school to have back, but the last back was back in 2009. Kettering High School had a back. And so, and then this is my brother Joe. If you remember, he was left because they thought that he wasn't going to live anymore. He's 58 years old. Has CP, and he is living with us. He's been living with us since November 2004. You can see chipper, lively, loving life, at 56, where his parents said, and the doctor back then said he's not going to last. So you can see that, being disabled, there's nothing that's going to stop us. We're going to plow right through and keep on living. Same thing with the polio. We're just going to plow right through and not going to let us get us down. So here, starting in 2012, I started my career as being coach for all of our kids since 2012 to the present. So you can see the different sports that I've done, and currently getting ready to do softball here for the summer, and we're also getting ready to coach soccer coming up in March. And then these are some of the things that I got to check off on my bucket list. Mud races. How many of you guys have done mud races? Any of you guys? You guys know what mud races are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought I would do one, but a friend of mine said, "Hey, James, we have 9 of us, myself and 8 others, want to do a mud race with you. We want to learn how to team bonding, number one, how to learn how to help somebody who is disabled or has other health issues that are willing to do this, and we want to be able to work with them and learn. Would you be willing to do that? And I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And so we trained, and I literally 3.5 miles, didn't use my wheelchair at all. I walked the whole entire time. I climbed, I did all 13 obstacles. I started it and I finished it with the other 9 folks. If I didn't have that, it would have been a lot tougher. But having that team open their eyes, and it opened my eyes too. I was like, I never thought that I would be able to do some of the obstacles that they had out there. And it was amazing, even for myself. And so I became the poster child for that year for the Warrior Dash. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And these are the different other things, sled hockey. I'm hoping to get back to, I'm having health issues right now. So I haven't played basketball or softball for 3 years. I'm hoping to trying to get myself back into it. But I've done marathons in my regular wheelchair, half marathon, fulls, 10Ks, 5Ks, rock climbing. You can see there. I play for the Columbus team for basketball and for softball, polar plunge, skydiving. Only crazy people want to do skydiving, so I'm crazy. And everything, so. But I'm telling you, what a rush though, to just drop out of that plane and you're just standing, you're just like still and you're just looking around. It's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And everything. So it was a lot of fun. I did that twice. And then now, I got to help start the first interscholastic wheelchair basketball team at a school. And Beavercreek's the one, and the first one in Southwest Ohio 4 years ago. Centerville's the second one now. This is their second year being the interscholastic. And we started off with 8 disabled kids at that far end up there. And now I have 13 disabled kids. But also on this team, we're allowed to have no more than 5 able-bodied kids. And what the able-bodied kids are responsible for is to try to help bring the ball down. Because as you can see, I have a very young team. And I have kids that still trying to learn how to dribble the ball, still learning how to catch and pass. So by having 2 able-bodies out on the court, because that's the max you're allowed to have, it helps bring the ball down and move things around. And my ABs are only allowed to score 6 points at finish. But you can see I grew from 8 disabled to 13 disabled kids, and I love it. I've been coaching since 1999, been a player coach, but this is the best coaching job. Much better than the adults, because the adults don't listen. Because they think they know it all. So my kids don't know it, they love it, they listen, and I'm telling you, these guys work really hard at practice and stuff like that. I try to do condition with my adult people, they complain to my, why are we doing this? Can't we just, you can't learn anything if you're just gonna scrimmage, because all you're gonna do is just play, outdoor basketball, you're not gonna learn anything. But these guys, they're learning, and I love it because they're listening and stuff. It's a lot of fun. So if you haven't seen them, hey, you need to come out next year. I try to post it. Come out and watch these young kids play. Also, real quickly, this year I had asked the president because I have 15 kids and I have 13 disabled, and 10 of them on my JV. So I asked a question about starting a JV program because all the other sports, for the most part, have a JVA, a JVB, and a varsity team. And now with me having 15 kids, and I got enough to start a JV, so I asked the question because Adaptive Sports Ohio are the ones that loans out the wheelchairs. It's like, hey, can you find out from the other teams if they have enough kids to create a JV team as well? Because I want to build a stepping stone. I want to be able to teach the young one. Because once my older kids, because I just graduated 2 of my seniors. So I just lost 2 seniors. Now I need to compensate. I need to bring them back. So having a JV team is going to help me out with that. So we piloted, Centerville and I, and our team piloted the JV program. And we have about 5 teams that are able to put one together. So I'm hoping that with the start of this year, next year, maybe make it official to have a JV and a varsity team. And we can use that as a build a program for us and for the other schools as well. Okay, and those are all the things that I'm very thankful for. But if you notice though, where was I born? Vietnam. I got to represent the United States in the Paralympics and other USA activities or sports. And I'm currently working for the Air Force, who actually helped get me out of Vietnam and everything. So seeing the American flag go up or come down in my first Paralympic, me born in Vietnam and representing the United States and seeing the flag and hearing the national anthem, can't get any better than that. Because that was pretty awesome and everything. But that's all the stuff that I'm very thankful for. Hopefully I didn't go overboard or over the time. And everything, but that's it. If you have questions, I will not entertain them. So I stay. I'm just kidding.
I got one for you, James.
Yes, sir.
I remember, I don't know, maybe it was 20 years ago, they built that house for you. Can you tell us a little bit about how that went and whatever? Because it's just, yeah, because I remember it was a big deal in town.
Well, the way it worked is they went through, what is it, 3,000 applicants in the state of Ohio. Okay. Then they went down to 300. And then they came a couple of times to do a site survey and ask us questions. And we showed them around the house and the basement and all that stuff. And then it dropped down to 100 from there. And then they came and it says, well, there are 5 families that's in the drawing for the extreme makeover. And then that morning on what was it, the 30th? I think it was the 31st, they came knocking at that door. And Ty with his big mouth and the horn, good morning, good family, James, Shannon, right? Come on down type thing. And that's it. So, and when they announced us and we did the show, we packed up our stuff, stay at the hotel on Thursday night. And then on Friday, we took off to Florida to Disneyland or Disney World. And so we were there for 4 days while they were here taking down the house. And when they took it down, we had a basement as well. They took the basement out and put a 4-foot crawl space in the basement. And then they put a cement down. Within 7 hours, they're already starting to build a house on that cement. Because the cement had calcium, so it cured a lot faster than normal. So 7 hours, they started putting all the framings and this and that. And within 104 hours, they had the house built. And then we came back on Thursday. I wasn't Thursday, but we came back on Thursday and then we did that moved that bus and moved in on Friday, the 7th of August, I think it was, or something like that.
Amazing.
And so we're still living in that house. We told the kids as soon as we moved into the house, because I have tons of wheelchairs at home, right? Well, all the kids grabbed the wheelchairs that they claimed, and they were racing around the island, right? Having a ball. And then one of them bumped because as soon as you enter into the house, there are 3 pillars that's actually basically holding up the house, right? Well, one of them bumped into one of the pillars. Stop. You don't need to look at me right now. Listen to me. You cannot hit these pillars because that's what's holding up the house. And I have no idea how strong the house is, but do not hit it, okay? Please. And so they did, and we go racing around, had so much fun and everything. But yes, we're on 16 years this coming August.
Wow.
And everything. And if you were there, thank you very much for supporting the family because it's a big help, especially more for my brother. And now with my health issues that I'm having, it's a major help. Back then, I wasn't more. It was going to be more for him than it was for me. But we are truly blessed to be able to have an access routes where we can go in and out to the front and in and out to the back. We have a rubberized backyard, like a third of our backyard, so I can be on that. And the kids could be in the grass and I could be coaching them. I could be playing basketball, throwing football, playing baseballs, having a lot of fun. And I don't have to be on the grass trying to push. I stay on my end and they're out there and we're just having a ball and everything. So yeah, the house is still in good shape. Yes, ma'am.
Good question, but I want to let you know, I have the privilege of working with your brother Joe at the library, and he's just a joy. We just love having him on staff, and he keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, yeah, I can see him doing that. Now, we rarely see much of him. He comes out when it's time for food. You know that. So every once in a while, I'll say, kids, can go and you guys go check on your uncle? Because I'm not hearing anything out for there, because he has his own studio. Oh, Dad, he's okay. I say, okay, thank you for checking in. Everything. But yeah, because he goes out now, almost every day, whether he's with his aide or he goes working at the library or he goes to Target or whatnot. But when he came to live with us, he was deteriorating, and that's why I talked to Shannon, because my mom had passed away a few days after our wedding, and my dad couldn't take care of him. So my dad moved down to South Carolina, and Joe was left in North Carolina. And for about 4 or 5 years, he started deteriorating. He wasn't talking very well. He was very, I don't want to say mopey, but there was no energy like you see him now, right? And so I would go, we would go visit him, 2 or 3 times a year, and that's like, no, this is too much driving. My sisters weren't taking care of him, even though they were a lot closer. One was 5 minutes away from him, never visited him. And the other one is South Carolina. It's like, Shan, we got to take him in. Otherwise, he's just gonna. And so he's been living with us since 2004. And you can see, the smile on his face. And you see him personally, he's just happy. Yes, ma'am.
How'd you get to Wright State? In Ohio?
In Ohio, that's a good question. Let's see here. So I graduated from high school in '87. I went to a community college in Middletown, New York, and I wanted to play college basketball. And back then, there was only like 7 universities, 7 or 8, but only like 2 were accessible universities or colleges. And so Wright State was one of them. And Minnesota, actually, there was 3, Illinois and Minnesota. And so I chose to go to Wright State. And but when I got here in August of '92, the coach said took a job in New Jersey, and the team ended up folding because nobody went to a federal grant meeting to receive funds to keep the program going. And I was like, well, this is August. I can't go anywhere else. So I stayed and I played on the club team while going to Wright State, played on the club team for 2 years. And I played for Indianapolis Division I for 2 and Cleveland Division I for 2 years. And then in '99 came back and I helped start up and became a player coach for the Wright State club team for 10 years. And then I had 3 college kids that wanted to go from Division III. They wanted to move up to Division II, and they asked if I could coach them. So we split from the team and picked up another player. And for that year, we played with 5 players in Division II. And I was, like I said, I was a player coach, 3 college kids and another player. And we actually did really well in the first half of any Division II. Second half, they had to press us because there was only 5 of us. But they had to press us because we were beating them. We were beating top-notch teams. But to answer your question, that's how I came to Wright State, because I wanted to play college. I still have 5 years eligibility, but I'm too old. Yes, ma'am.
Can you credit like one thing that made you who you are or got you? You're such an amazing human being. What was the thing that got you to be brave and strong and do all these things?
Well, I'll have to give it to my parents, especially my mom. She would let me do whatever I wanted. right? So if there was a sport I want to do, because where I said I would go across the street and literally I would play my football, be running. And what I would do is I cheat a little bit. I get close to the other team. We had the ball and they were running and I would trip them and they would fumble. And then they was like, you tripped. It's like, no, I was running, trying to get to you and you ran into my crutch. Not my problem. And so, he fumbled and, or when I get ready to tackle, I fling my crutches out and I literally would tackle and everything. It was a lot of fun, but I was like, Mom, I got friends that want me to go play baseball and stuff, and I would be the pitcher and I throw it at them, they hit it, or say, hey, I was the team manager for the high school girls soccer team, and I was their goalie because my crutches reach out pretty close to the corners and everything, and so they'd be shooting and I'd be just blocking. And it's like, girls, look at the corners. I can't touch the corners. You keep hitting them towards me. What's up with that? And so eventually they were, shooting at the goals where I can reach it and stuff. But, my parents just say, letting me go out there and do, but also Joe Wolf, he was my biggest, he's the one that kept saying, you got the skill set, but you just got to believe in yourself that you want to keep. And he would just push me and push me. And so he got me involved. And that's how I got involved with the tennis and get involved with softball. And so being taught that nothing's going to stop you unless you let it stop you. That's the mindset that I have. And that's the mindset that I set to all my kids now, not just our kids, but all the kids that I reach. I got thousands of kids out there, and I claim as being my kids because I love teaching them, and I can see them. They're actually paying it forward for what they've learned, and the coaches that I've worked with have the same mindset that I have, and so being able to work that way, and then having great parents makes it so much easier for me. So hopefully I answered your question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
In your professional and very humble opinion, is the human resource and management degree in the right state of the grades degree that anybody can get?
Well, let me think about that one. Human resource management was actually about like the last deciding point because I got tired of being a right state for 6 years because I changed my major 3 times. And so even at the community college, it's a 2-year college, right? Community. Well, I changed my major 3 times. So I ended up being 5 years at a community college. Then I come to Wright State. And again, undecided. And so I changed my major 3 more times. And I was like, well, I got to graduate in something. So my advisor's like, well, you know what? You only need two more classes and you can become a human resource manager. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's great. So I applied for those 2, graduated with human resource, but I got hired on though by a full bird before he retired to be a computer support. In 99, human resources, computer support. I'm not sure how that worked, but 26 years later, I'm still doing computer support and a bunch of other stuff at Wright State. So that's how I ended up human resource and everything. Yes, may I help you?
I just wanted the alarm so that you can watch me. No, so I learned to tell James thanks a lot. He comes out to Ryla. He's been out there, I know, more than 5-6 times. I'm surprised he didn't bring the wheelchairs like he does at Ryla and put everybody in them to show you how difficult it really is. But he's an inspiration to our youth, and he's a treasure to our community.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have some amazing speakers here. Really. As usual, this one is James already signed it. Who was Franklin Roosevelt?
No, right on.
I think it's kind of appropriate. Thank you, Beth.
Now, did you know that Franklin Roosevelt had polio? Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure, because not many people, because you actually didn't get to see him being in a wheelchair a lot of times when he was actually out there talking and everything like that. But he also has an accessory car. stick, mind you, that he draws. And I thought that was pretty cool. And everything.
I'll make sure Joe is the one that shelves that.
I'm sorry?
Joe's,
Yeah, yes, please, yeah.
Very good. All right, I was fortunate to work on this house when it was being built. I worked one day and it was so hot that my shirt just sweat through, so I went back to COPP and directed traffic. I said, all right, next week's speaker is John McCants, Ohio Director of the ESGR. It's Employers Support for the Guard and Reserve. Our greeters next week are Josh Eisen and a question mark, so somebody needs to sign up. And there is hopefully a sign-up sheet going around for greeters. So we get that taken care of. Yes. Keep an eye out on upcoming programs, beavercreekrotary.com, Facebook, and my emails. There will be a board meeting immediately following this meeting. Anything else for the good of the club? You all please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. It is in the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. And it's going to get cold. Well, I don't know if you're great on that. Huh? This is all these. This was one of our poor meetings. This is one of our bad ones. See you next one. See you next one.
Dang, so. Current administration seeks to environment people with anti-vaccine.
Oh, they need to be back to, because if you remember, thing was about 70 then. We had kids here in the States starting to get old.
Well, right now, there's not very.
Back step.
Been like 75 days last year. Already this year.
Yeah,
So,
but
I don't think it's dead. And then here.
think that the kid is. All of.
We're halfway from the first grader.
Or it's still on this, because right now it's about bully in my body. I'm in my body, it's actually, and I'm like, no, I'm not saying it's very hard.
So. I'm sorry, I guess you could see, you actually know you have that. Stay pretty work out. You know, it's wrong. Part. It was top everywhere, and it was like, it was like the state fair. On your street, and you don't have a very busy street.
No, wow, it's, no, but if you remember, Joey was Mike, because that breaks for several days. Yeah, so we put mud, they had to put in what? Yeah,
It's all good.
and then they got death, because we got really large. Now, we were here, I didn't take my stuff in, sir.
Hey, great talk, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.